What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about Ripple. Absolutely phenomenal day, new 52-week high. So I want to break it down on what really drove it higher, but more specifically, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about Ripple. Absolutely phenomenal day, new 52-week high. I want to go over what really drove it higher, but at the same time, I want to answer everyone's question. Is there still more room for it to go up? Before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Ripple is sitting at $3.33, up 9.54% over the last 24 hours, 5.47 billion in volume. So for those of you that have been kind of tuning into my Ripple videos, I have been bringing up the fact that there's been lower volume. And despite that lower volume though, it's been actually holding these gains like a champ, insinuating that it does really want to move higher, but the writing was on the wall. All it needed was a nice push of capital and then it was going to explode. And that's, lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Of course, at the same time, it did coincide with a couple catalysts. Those catalysts were this right here. So the Ripple SEC kind of thing didn't really go according to plan. Unfortunately, the SEC did kick the can down the road a little bit, but nonetheless, though, I think everyone generally knows how that is going to turn out for Ripple. So that's very positive. The only thing kind of negative that might affect is a potential ETF. So I think a lot of individuals, including myself, were anticipating a ETF approval in the first half of 2025. Because of this, it might get pushed to the second half, but regardless, there's already a lot of other catalysts. So one thing that did recently happen as well was CPI. So core was a little bit lower and regular came in line with the forecast. And so that really fueled optimism in the market, both crypto and equity. So that is also kind of what gave it a nice extra push higher alongside many of the other coins. But I think this did really solidify Ripple's position number 3 among all the coins, and most likely, given the momentum, it probably will be passing Ethereum, I'd say, by the end of Q2 or if not Q3 2025. That's just my prediction. Let me know your viewpoint on that. But there is one catalyst I do want to go over, which kind of coincides with this. So the crypto fear and greed index is at 57. So people's appetite for risk is on the table. Last time I did an update, I think it was on the 14th, and it was kind of on the low end of neutral. But if we look at the chart, typically from December until roughly the third week of January, the sentiment and momentum just diminishes. Then it picks back up, goes up until March. So we're kind of a week and a half ahead of that. So most likely we're still going to be following that same trend where it does peak in March. But there is an exception for Ripple, because there is also another catalyst that is coming out in March, and that is this. So the ISO update, so 222, and that's going to be adopted by all the banks at the end of November 2025. It is going to be in stages, but it is going to be starting in March of 2025. Why does this matter? Ripple and this new update, they pretty much they're mirror images of one another. So ultimately Ripple's plan and essentially already is what the banks are going to be adopting. So if the banks are ever going to be leaning on, let's say, a cryptocurrency, they'd be more willing to go with the Ripple route. So of course, I think that just goes to show as well Ripple's efficiency. So every one of these has different benefits. Most of them, of course, sometimes Doge doesn't and whatever, but most of them each have a unique specialty. Ripple is its efficiency and safety and whatever, but I think in general, that is one thing that makes it stand out over and above Ethereum as well as Bitcoin. So with more and more adoption of kind of these policies and updates among the banks, this is where you could see a increase in investment in Ripple. So once again, you just had a increase of roughly 3 billion on a daily basis, and that's what caused all of this to go up. So once again, kind of coinciding with this, so essentially higher highs down the pipeline. Positive note, you have been seeing some squeezes. So over the last couple of days, with it going up, you have seen shorts liquidate a lot of their positions. So on the 14th, you had 23.47 million in shorts liquidated, 19.79 million on the 15th. And so in general, that is a very good thing. You had some longs closing out a little bit as well, so 23.39, but despite that though, I think the bigger whales are also keeping this afloat. Some key points to really watch for, in case you don't know, I'm more of a technical driven individual, which when it comes down to crypto, it goes hand in hand. But 227, that was an absolutely key pivot, and with the lower volume it held that, was able to break above that 268, seems to be with ease. Struggled with this 293 slightly, and now it is exactly on this 333. So when it comes down to it, I think that there is a hell of a lot more room for it to go up. A lot of people are throwing up like $1,000, $100, and whatever else. At least in the short term, I do feel feasibly $4.39 is achievable, and most likely that will be occurring over the next roughly 2 weeks. And then going into ultimately that new update and that big catalyst, then I could see realistically around that $5 range. Again, given the market conditions, you also do have Trump coming in roughly 4 days from now, and that generally is going to be also a good catalyst for crypto in its entirety. So I think there is a lot more room to go up, and even in the short term, maybe my predictions might be a little bit too conservative, and so it might go up higher than that. So let me know your thoughts on all of that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Where do you see things going in the short term, long term? Where's your viewpoint on that? And is there any other catalysts I'm potentially missing out on? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. I've been preaching Ripple for a while now. Even recently when it did go down over here, I said exactly 202 was a screaming buying opportunity, and it did go down to I think $1.99 or $2 even. So called that, and then pretty much straight out the gate I said that it was going to go to the $290 range. So yeah, everything has been following according to plan. I'll be giving another update shortly on where I do feel good entry and exit points are and everything. So definitely pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below, and also comments with all that. Appreciate all of you watching.